Have you ever read a Bible verse and you thought, wait, what does that actually mean? Or maybe you saw someone that quoted a verse online, and then something about that just didn't feel right. One of the biggest reasons I think a lot of people misunderstand the Bible is because they might just read one sentence and then think that's what the whole meaning is. And they just stop there. Maybe they're trying to prove a point or anything for that matter. But the Bible wasn't written that way. It wasn't written as one sentence quote. It was written in groups of comments and stories and conversations. And when we only read one verse, we can completely miss what the writer was trying to tell us. Welcome to Scripture in Context. This is the place where we can slow it down, read the passage, look at what was actually happening historically, and we can try to understand what the author or speaker was actually trying to say to us. Because sometimes that verse can sound one way, but then when you read all of the passages around it, when you dig deep and you read the whole story or the whole context, it changes it. So today, I want to go over something simple, but I believe that this is really powerful. We're going to look at a verse that people quote like all the time, but I want us to look at the context around it, because when we do that, the meaning becomes much clearer. Here's an example. So Matthew 7, one of the most quoted lines in the Bible. I'm sure most of you have probably heard this before. Judge not. People quote that verse constantly for a myriad of different reasons, and I'm sure you have all heard it before. Let's dive deep and see what Jesus is talking about when he says this. Okay, I want to read the Bible verse to you. So this is Matthew 7:1. Do not judge so that you will not be judged. Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, and behold, the log is in your own eye. If someone were only to read that one sentence, it might sound like the Bible is saying we should never judge anything. But the problem with that is that's not where the passage ends. Jesus continues that thought. And when we read the next verses, the meaning becomes much clearer. So I'm going to continue reading Matthew 7, verse 2 through 3. So, do not judge that you will not be judged. Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, and behold, the log is in your own eye. Now the message starts to take shape. Jesus isn't saying people should ignore right or wrong. He's warning us about something else. Hypocrisy. He describes someone in this verse as trying to remove a tiny speck from another person's eye. Yet that person, they have a giant plank in their own eye. And honestly, picture that. It's almost humorous. I mean, imagine someone walking around with a giant board sticking out of their face, trying to perform eye surgery on someone else when you have a big board sticking out of your own eye. That image in itself would have been so memorable to all the people listening. This is where historical context could also come in and matter too. Jesus was speaking in a culture with religious leaders who were known for being extremely strict about the rules. But sometimes those same leaders ignored their own behavior. So when Jesus used this example, his audience immediately understood what the point of this was. Here's a second example I want to read you from Philippians. This is Philippians 4:13, and I'm reading out of the New American Standard Bible. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. A lot of people will use this verse to mean that they can accomplish anything they want to. But if they would read the verse right before it, we see that Paul is talking about something different. So let's read the surrounding passage. This is Philippians 11 through 12. Not that I speak from want, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I am. I know how to get along with humble means, and I also know how to live in prosperity. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of being filled and going hungry, both of having abundance and suffering need. Paul is talking about learning how to be content. He says that he has learned how to live with plenty and also how to live with very little. So when he says that he can do all things through Christ, he's talking about enduring whatever life throws at him. Here's a simple habit or tip you can start today when you read the Bible. When you see a verse that stands out to you, don't just stop at that one verse. Read the verses that are before it and also the ones that are after it. Ask yourself who is speaking in these verses, and ask who they're talking to when they are speaking. And ask what was happening around them or in that historical period. When you start reading the Bible this way, something interesting happens. The scriptures actually begin explaining themselves. And instead of feeling confusing, the messages are going to begin to connect. If you enjoy studying scripture this way and learning practical steps in gaining understanding and reducing anxiety, that's what this channel is about. We explore the Bible in the context so we can understand what the writers are actually saying, not what other people are saying. We want to understand these things for ourselves. And if you would like to keep studying together, please subscribe and follow along. I'd love the support and I'd love to grow in the Word with you. And I also have a free 7-step scripture test that I've got linked below. Just enter your email and you can grab that free. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I want you to come to those conclusions yourself because that's what God intended. I've enjoyed meeting with you today and I hope that we can grow together. I'm really excited about this and I would love your support. I will see you next time.